Michelle Cavalier, your neighbor in Royal Palm and trusted real estate advisor. Welcome to your June 2019 RPIA HOA debrief, where I take about a 2-hour meeting and condense it down to about a 10-minute debrief. You are welcome. Be sure to hit subscribe below and click the little bell if you'd like to stay informed when we upload new videos. All right, so this month we covered a variety of topics, a lot of them updates. We talked about a crime wave, actually not a crime wave, just gossip, but we'll get there. The security report, an update on the Gatehouse Project, an update on drainage, financial report, construction parking, parking in general, and a brand new neighbor here in Royal Palm. So let's get right into it, shall we? All right, the security report went as follows. All of our officers here at RPIA have recently been retrained and certified on their flag skills with the Florida Department of Transportation. That is the flagman recertification. So when the bridge at Camino Real reopens, we will have an entire force of officers who are available to stand at the ready and do the flag so that we can halt traffic coming up off of Camino. This has been a consistent issue and we've looked at multiple ways to resolve it. So here's to our flagmen. Speaking of the traffic circle, it is currently slated to be completed at the end of June. City is saying June 24th. Just this week, we started seeing repaving going on the circle, and word on the street is that there is no way that the bridge is going to open at the end of June. I would love to be wrong about this, but my sources say it's probably closer to end of July, maybe even August. So we'll keep you apprised as we learn more. Again, nothing official from the city about that just yet. So speaking of the circle, it was suggested by one of the governors that we change a current sign, which is a standard yield sign, something like what you see here, red, upside down triangle, yield. They wanted to add something that includes a flashing light. So it turns out that streets, public streets in the city of Boca Raton or really anywhere, these signs are not something that we can just put up on our own. So these are regulated by the Department of Transportation. There's actually an official sticker located on the back of the signs that indicates it is an official sign. We are not allowed to add any sort of flashing lights or change the signage in any way. The city was approached just to be sure, and the answer was no, we cannot add or change the city signs. So we will be proceeding with our standard yield sign, and of course the newly paved, newly painted lines, which should help in our roundabout at Camino Real entrance. All right, so on to parking. The parking notices, which you may recall from last month's video, have been being put out. I'll put a little picture of it up here. It's the red notice, and we'll put the contents of the text in the comments below so that you can read it for yourself. There were, in 1 month, 500 of these parking notices put on vehicles in Royal Palm. According to the chief of security, the first 3 or 4 days, these were wildly effective, and compliance with the rule of not parking on the streets was followed by most residents during that time. At some point, it seems that people started to read them and understand that it was not a parking ticket, not a citation, but just something between a warning and a notification to let our residents know that, in fact, there is no on-street parking allowed. So it was moved by the board that we would print an additional 1,000 of these notices. So if you are parked on the street and there is room in your driveway, you may see one of these red notices on your windshield. Okay, continuing on the theme of parking, there is another situation in Royal Palm attributed to construction in the neighborhood. So in some areas of South Florida, including Ocean Ridge, Gulf Stream, if a new home is being constructed, all construction vehicles must park off-site. So maybe they carpool to the location, maybe they park a vehicle on the property itself, perhaps on the apron where the property meets the street. In Royal Palm, historically, we park along the streets, our construction vehicles. So we are, as a community, working to persuade our builders to be parking on the site itself. So a number of them have been increasing their level of compliance with that, getting used to the idea that they need to be parking on the actual parcel, not on the street. So According to RPIA, it's been a little spotty in terms of compliance. So they will be sending a letter out to all builders who are currently doing business in Royal Palm, currently constructing something, letting them know that they do need to begin to park on the parcel whenever possible. So, look for those notices. The main pushback in our neighborhood has been that a number of us have very beautiful driveways. So we'll build a new home and then we'll have, a driveway made of marble, for example. It's fairly common. So the suggestion was made that they should put a layer of protection after that driveway is installed, such as plywood, and continue to park in the driveway. Okay, so there's a bit of gossip going around here in Royal Palm. It was reported by multiple governors on the RPIA board that they had been in social situations and they had been approached by other neighbors saying, what about this crime wave in Royal Palm? I hear there was this dramatic, robbery on Thatch Palm. So no robbery. There was a break-in, and it is a very strange and suspicious set of circumstances on this one. They were not able to elaborate too much on that. The police are investigating. But one caveat they did share was that a hurricane impact window was broken from the inside of the house outward, and a safe was stolen. So that is an active ongoing investigation. Last month, you may recall, there was another incident also on Thatch Palm in which a young man stole a vehicle, went into an unlocked residence, took the key fob, and stole the vehicle. An arrest was made, and that young man was unfortunately friendly with the teenage son of the homeowner. So there were 2 incidents in the past 2 months in Royal Palm. Both are, sort of interesting circumstances and probably don't qualify us as a place that just is having a crime wave or anything super crazy like that. So I would like to invite you, neighbors, if you do have questions about any sort of an incident that's happened in Royal Palm or that maybe you've heard has happened in Royal Palm, feel welcome to talk to the chief of the security force or to call RPIA. They'd be happy to answer your questions. Okay, there was an update on the Gatehouse Project. In short, the committee chair will be meeting with the city officials to discuss what types of options we will have in terms of renovating the gatehouses, both at the federal highway entrance as well as Camino Real entrance. So look forward to sharing more about that as details surface. Okay, the Architectural Committee reported that there are 4 preliminary submittals for new construction. No substantial challenges, nothing crazy in terms of, no one's asked to build a purple castle, anything like that. So looks like we're going to have more of the same coming forward in terms of new construction. The Architectural Committee has added a requirement to new packages to include a drainage plan. So when one is going to build a new house with the city of Boca Raton, it is required to submit a drainage plan for how the flow of water is going to be handled. RPIA will now be reviewing that plan due to, in part, some challenges we've had with drainage in the community in the past couple of years. In terms of builder requirements, there is one that you may know about. If a house is torn down in Royal Palm, it is required that the builder sods the lot or puts in irrigation, covers it with grass. And there have been times when a builder has been slow to do so for various reasons. And one of those is fairly common, and it's increasingly common as the city of Boca Raton grows ever busy, which is that a house will be demolished, permits will be applied for with the idea of 30 days later, permits will be awarded and the house construction can commence. As those are sometimes delayed, the house may not start construction and the builder may not want to sod the lot. So RPIA has been very flexible about this in the past. However, there is one lot in particular where some neighbors have been complaining. The home was demolished 11 months ago and the lot has not been sodded. So in order to prevent this sort of thing in the future, RPIA has decided that they are going to increase the preliminary deposit required before a house can be demolished in the unlikely event that the builder is delayed an unreasonable amount of time, so that RPIA can then sod the lot on the builder's behalf and recapture those funds from the builder's deposit. The financial report was very straightforward. As we reported last month, we did have a little bit of a surplus, which is now going to go towards some one-time expenditures, including security, cameras throughout the community, and some associated setup, and the beginning of our street lighting project. So the Finance Committee carefully calculated how we could make sure that we continue to operate in the black. There will be an approximate 3% increase in our assessment this year. Look for your assessments in the mail during the month of July. Okay, drainage, an ongoing issue here in Royal Palm. There is a meeting set up next week with some building officials to determine how best to move forward to address our drainage concerns. As we move into the monsoon season, it is increasingly common for our streets to be full of water. Not quite rivers, but sometimes for a half hour or so after a heavy rain, it sure does look like a river. There is one house in particular that is seriously affected during every major rainstorm, and that is in the northern end of the community. The idea is that we can get the drainage concerns alleviated in advance of the repaving commencing in October or November of this year. So if you haven't heard, we will be repaving, the city rather will be repaving the streets in the north end of the community starting late fall. So we'd like to get the drainage concerns obviously alleviated in advance of that work beginning. Okay, garbage curbside restrictions. So one of the Board of Governors asked the question, what are the rules in terms of putting out one's garbage for collection? The rule is in the bylaws that one may put the garbage cans and recycling out by the curb no earlier than 5 p.m. the day before trash pickup day. So that would be Sunday evening, 5 p.m. or later, and Wednesday evening, 5 p.m. or later, given that our trash days are on Mondays and Thursdays. There are a few residents who consistently put their garbage out days in advance and sometimes don't wheel the cans in. It is a limited number of residents who do that, and in general, our security team pitches in to make sure that none of us have to watch the garbage can sit at the curb for days. Thank you, security officers. All right, my final item is a new build here in Royal Palm and a brand new neighbor. So you may recall from last year that there was a parcel, a very large parcel, that originally was not platted inside of our PIA. It was on Camino Real, between Camino and Thatch, a large parcel of land. So, some work by the Board of Governors last year was able to bring that parcel into Royal Palm using some technical maneuvers legally, because we didn't want to, of course, have to redo our entire bylaws for one parcel. So we are going to be welcoming into the community a new homeowner and a new home on that parcel. The brand new address is 269 Thatch Palm Road. That will be a large parcel which has previously been fronting Camino Real, which will now be fronting Thatch Palm. Construction on that estate will begin in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching. I'm Rochelle.TV, bringing you all of the most important updates about Royal Palm.